An astonishing confession from a senior cameraman suddenly shattered the walls of global skepticism. He witnessed with his own eyes that the love between Taehyung and Jungkook was not merely an industry-crafted scenario, but a soul-deep bond so real that it moved an entire news studio crew to break down in tears. This emotional testimony not only reinforced the authenticity of the TAEKOOK relationship, now widely acknowledged across the globe, but also served as a stern warning to anyone who dared to underestimate the ironclad solidarity of their loyal fans, because behind that camera lens lay an undeniable truth about a love unlike anything the world had ever seen. Watch the continuation of this video and don't miss it. Before we start, make sure you're ready to love this moments. Welcome to V Effect. The international entertainment world was suddenly thrown into turmoil after an exclusive behind-the-scenes interview video from BTS's grand concert went viral across various social media platforms. The main focus of the coverage was not the magnificence of the stage or the dazzling lighting design, but rather the honest confession of a senior cameraman who was assigned to capture every moment live on stage. The man, who has spent decades working in the broadcasting industry, still appeared to be trembling as he recounted his experience documenting the interactions between BTS's two youngest members, Kim Taehyung and Jeon Jungkook. Silence filled the studio as he took a deep breath, trying to hold back the tears that had already pooled in his eyes since the interview session began. The cameraman admitted that he had long been among those who were skeptical of narratives about closeness between idols often seen on television, even dismissing them as mere marketing strategies. He openly confessed that he once believed the relationship between Taehyung and Jungkook was nothing more than a staged act, or an agency-driven demand meant to satisfy fans' imaginations around the world. However, all of those cynical thoughts collapsed instantly when he stood only centimeters away from them, with his camera lens capturing every micro-expression that television censors could never filter. The man witnessed with his own eyes a reality far deeper and more meaningful than any script that could ever be planned by a creative team. "I thought they were just staged, but when you see it in person you won't believe it, and you will begin to feel an overwhelming happiness in your heart," the cameraman said, his voice hoarse and trembling. He described how Taehyung's gaze toward Jungkook carried an emotional depth that could never be fabricated, a sparkle of sincerity radiating boundless honesty. To him, the camera in his hands felt like a window into their souls, revealing how strong the bond between them was amid the roar of thousands of cheering fans. This testimony instantly shifted the previously cheerful studio atmosphere into one filled with deep emotion because of the sincerity in his words. He further explained that the affection shown by Taehyung toward Jungkook was extraordinary and difficult to describe with the limitations of human language. He recounted small moments behind the stage and in the dark corners of the concert set, where Taehyung's attention never strayed from Jungkook, ensuring that the younger member always felt safe and comfortable. According to him, there was a kind of protective energy and pure affection so genuine that anyone standing near them could feel its warmth. "There has never been a love in this world as true as TAEKOOK's," he added again while wiping the tears that finally fell down his cheeks. The reporter assigned to interview the cameraman initially tried to remain professional and maintain emotional distance as an objective journalist. However, as the details of the story unfolded, especially about how Taehyung held Jungkook's hand with deep meaning, the reporter could no longer contain his emotions. He began to sob during the live broadcast, feeling deeply touched by the powerful love described by his visibly shaken source. The realization that such sincere affection could exist in an industry often perceived as full of artificiality made the reporter feel overwhelmingly emotional. It did not take long for the mixed wave of sadness and happiness to spread throughout the entire production crew inside the studio. Producers, sound engineers, and even makeup artists behind the scenes fell silent and began reaching for tissues to wipe away their tears. The atmosphere in the studio transformed into a space of collective reflection, where everyone seemed to feel the pulse of affection that the cameraman had witnessed on the concert stage. Not a single person in the room remained untouched by the narrative of sacrifice and sincere care between the two global stars. This testimony became even more powerful because it came from someone who had no vested interest in the fan ecosystem, but rather from a professional simply carrying out his duty. The cameraman emphasized that what he saw was not a performance for an audience, but a form of soul-to-soul communication that occurred naturally and without pressure. He felt honored to be a witness to what he called a human miracle, where two individuals could love and support each other so deeply under the immense pressure of global fame. His confession seemed to validate the beliefs of millions who had long believed there was something special between them. On social media, clips from this interview quickly exploded and sparked widespread discussions about the true nature of love in the public eye. Many netizens reported crying simply from watching the cameraman's honest and unfiltered reaction as he expressed his admiration. This story was no longer merely celebrity news, but a universal message about how sincerity of heart can touch anyone, even the most skeptical individuals. TAEKOOK, the name often associated with this pair, was now viewed in a new light by the general public thanks to this emotional testimony. As the interview session came to an end, the studio remained silent for several moments, leaving space for everyone to absorb the meaning of what they had just heard. The cameraman concluded his statement by saying that covering the concert had permanently changed his perspective on human relationships. He felt he had become a better person and more trusting in the power of love after witnessing how Taehyung and Jungkook interacted in real life. For him, it was the most valuable moment in his entire career as a visual documentarian. With lingering tears, the reporter struggled to conclude the news segment, his voice still hoarse from emotion. Viewers at home were also reported to have felt deeply moved, making this event one of the most touching television moments in entertainment news history this year. The power of genuine love proved capable of transcending professional boundaries and uniting many hearts on the same frequency of happiness, reinforcing the belief that TAEKOOK's love was truly unmatched in its authenticity. Evidence gathered by expression experts and behavioral observers from various parts of the world further strengthened the narrative that the relationship between Taehyung and Jungkook was not merely a collective imagination. Various in-depth analyses of body gestures, movement synchronization, and the frequency of their eye contact had become subjects of study widely recognized as examples of authentic emotional bonding. The world began to open its eyes to what was seen as a rare phenomenon that transcended cultural and linguistic boundaries, creating a new standard for how two souls could support one another at the peak of popularity. This international recognition no longer stemmed from speculation alone, but from the consistency of behavior they had displayed over many years both in public and behind the scenes. On the other hand, the extraordinary strength supporting their existence came from the TAEKOOK fanbase, known as one of the most solid and organized communities on the planet. These fans were not merely spectators, but loyal protectors who shared a deep emotional bond with the life journeys of the two idols. The solidarity they demonstrated in supporting every project, celebrating every achievement, and defending TAEKOOK's honor had become a powerful force that could not be underestimated. They moved like a unified entity, ready to face any challenge to safeguard the dignity and happiness of Taehyung and Jungkook from any form of negative narrative. Therefore, an unspoken yet very real warning emerged within the entertainment industry. Attempting to insult or belittle the TAEKOOK fan community would be a fatal mistake. The courage of these fans in defending their idols often had significant consequences for anyone who tried to disturb their peace, both socially and digitally. Their collective strength in voicing truth and resisting injustice had proven that those who dared to disrupt the happiness of this community would face severe consequences. Living under the pressure of confrontation with millions of determined individuals was not something anyone desired, because the solidarity of TAEKOOK fans stood as a reflection of the extraordinary love they fiercely protected. Leave your positive comments here. The best comment will be pinned as a way to honor their love. Thank you to everyone who continues to support this channel. May God reward all of your kindness. This video reflects my personal opinion and interpretation. It is made for entertainment purposes only and does not represent confirmed facts.